sonora de Gladiator, feita por Hans Zimmer, nasce do espírito do herói e não de suas conquistas. Como em muitos filmes do começo do século XXI, a preocupação do cineasta era criar um personagem cuja vida pessoal e cujos pensamentos mais íntimos fossem tão fortes quanto seu lado externo de guerreiro.
It felt like such a boys' movie, and my ambition was to make it romantic. You know, to have not a single woman get out of her seat or be bored or be put off by it, and actually make this about contextualize in a way the violence within the story through the music. So it's not just, you know, blood and guts and gore because it's exciting, but actually make it very much part of this idea of the simple man, the farmer who loses his family, who loses his voice. I mean, he hardly speaks in the second act, and the music has to speak for him. I managed to tell story without getting caught at it. I managed to still keep things emotional in its own way, and I managed to contain the heroics and not make them just cheap heroics.
I'd built in the idea and made the decision that the Maximus character would die. So right through the process of shooting, I was looking for an image which would give me the idea of mortality, and because I had Russell on every battleground pick up the earth and sniff the earth. Also, he was a farmer, but I saw him as a man who actually had his hands right on the soil and in the soil. And so taking that soil and sniffing it is really also saying, I may die here today, and if I do, I'm going to be buried here. So I just wonder what this earth's like.
I did that thing that Russell does in the movie. I actually picked up a clump of dirt, and I thought, hang on, he's a farmer. You know, forget about General, forget about Gladiator. He's a farmer. It's about the earth. So I wrote this tiny little tune, which then became, you know, we kept calling it the Earth tune. You know, and it keeps switching. Ultimately becomes a love theme. So it's about that. It's about the earth. That was the character for me.
The music puts on the fourth dimension. The music plays what you can't see. The music plays when you're in a room. It plays the world around you outside, and the environment outside, and the world that you've entered.
One thing I love about working with him is I don't read the script. I get him to tell me the story, because then I know what his point of view is.
You can talk to Hans like a normal person, but there are some composers you can't, who tend to look down their noses at you because you don't understand their craft, okay? And I do understand their craft really well, but I just don't read music.
Coming here in the first week of shooting and having meetings in that beautiful Marcus Aurelius tent that was, you know, sitting in the mud in Farnham while outside the battle was raging, you know, and the two of us sort of having left the 20th century and gone back to Roman times, and just talking about Roman art. And I suddenly started having this idea that so much of what we perceive as beauty and culture and great architecture is built on the blood, guts, gore, whatever, of other people. Musically, how could I reflect the architectural beauty, the architectural symmetry of Rome? And I was thinking, what's the most beautiful form of music? Viennese waltzes. You know, because we look at these sculptures and we just go, oh, isn't it beautiful? And we forget that it's death and destruction and savagery that brought them to us. And so I thought I decided to write all the action sequences as waltzes, and just basically use the waltz and turn it on its head and just show its bloody underbelly.
Becomes this champion, this famous gladiator. He's, of course, put against all odds, fighting charioteers who are armed with crossbows and bows. And so the odds are pretty stacked against him. And, of course, he utilizes his intuition as a general to rally his forces, form his own castle in the middle of the arena, and let these moving chariots come to him. And little by little, they win the day.
it starts off with an absolute crib of Gustav Holst. Actually, it's just the idea of mass bringer of war, and it's not. I just thought, hang on, this is like sort of in our collective subconscious. What happens if I use his idea and develop it further and start adding my own stuff to it, And again, it's in Wall's time, but it's this. It's just this ferocious thing, it's this ferocious machine that comes towards you.
Hans took part of the thematics from the German front, which underscored the military might and the power and strength of Maximus as a man, as a general, as a warrior, and that becomes the kind of musical color at this particular moment, which is all about heroism.
Anybody who managed to finish the score and not get fired off the movie, I think, is a hero. It's always like that. It's always like entering the arena with the lions, the tigers, and you're always battling